I can control what you hear, what you see, what you think, and it's an ultimate expression of being able to be in control of another person. A lot of times a narcissist loves a long-distance relationship. You see, a long-distance relationship has you separated so far from the other person that a narcissist can be in control of the narrative that you hear. So if we're a couple hours away or if we're across the country, I can control what you hear, what you see, what you think, and it's an ultimate expression of being able to be in control of another person. Being able to be in control of your thoughts, your feelings, and emotion, because the only way that you're going to know anything going on in my life is what I feed you. So for a narcissist, it can be a great high to have someone in a long-distance relationship because they can gain emotional support, emotional validation from that person. They can feel better about their ego. They can say, oh, I've got a boyfriend, I've got a girlfriend, I've got somebody, and then they can go out and do whatever they want. Now, on the flip side, they go out and do whatever they want because they have someone in a long-distance relationship. And you're like, wait a second. Okay, let me explain. So then you go out with someone else and you're like, yeah, like I've been going through a really hard time. Like we're actually on a break. We're actually on a moment where, I just don't think it's going to work out. Like we've been in this long distance relationship for, a year now, and I'm trying to figure out like how to break it to them. And it's just not happening. Then you have the next person that you're there with physically that's like, oh, like I'm so sorry. Boom. Then you start getting empathy. Then you start getting the next person hooked on the idea that you're a victim. See, that's what narcissists love to do. They love to play the victim role a lot of times, and they can do it through triangulation, through pitting other people against each other. And an easy way to do that is to share something that seems empathetic, to share something that's traumatic, to share something that is huge that they're having to go through. So like for me, getting into the relationship that I had with my wife, I got out of a really bad relationship with someone else beforehand. It was traumatic, it was crazy, it was possessive, like it was all these different types of things. And like when I got into that relationship, that was also something that started tying me to my wife of, hey, this is what happened. Like she was the crazy one, she did all this. And that's what a narcissist will do, is they'll tie in even current relationships to be able to play the victim card to other people. So like I said, a narcissist loves the idea of having a long-distance relationship. You know why? Because the other person on the other end of the phone is on tap. It means whenever they want, they can pull that lever and get whatever supply they need out of that person. And the more they do that, the more they pull that lever, the more they give a tiny bit back to the other person's thinking like, well, maybe it is me. I need to communicate more. I need to acknowledge that person more. I need to respond faster. I need to be more engaged. And all of a sudden, they start trying harder on the other end. Like, I don't want to lose this relationship. It seems so great. Like, we started off so well, and they try to do anything and everything to be able to keep the relationship, which starts the narcissist even loving it even more because the other person is trying to get them, is trying to put more into it. And the narcissist is like, oh, I'm going to take this. Oh, I'm going to take this as much as I can. They love the idea of having someone on tap. So as a result, they can text, they can FaceTime, they can call anytime they want. They expect the other person to answer. Like, why aren't you answering me? Of course, like, I'm the narcissist calling you. Like, why aren't you answering me? Like, are you busy? Like, do you not care about me anymore? Like, do you not love me? Like, they'll guilt trip. They'll do anything they can because they want to keep that tap secure. They want to keep that person coming back to them every single time. So as a result, they'll continue to reach out, but then they'll also pull back and blame it on a lot of different things. I'm sorry, I didn't see your text. I fell asleep. Or like, hey, I've been sick. I haven't really been on my phone at all. Or I had to work late. Like, sorry. Because everything they say, you're going to have to believe because you're on the other side. They're the ones that are controlling your reality, your perception of what's happening in that long-distance relationship. So as a result, they can do whatever they want. Another example of long-distance relationship. Whenever my wife had gone out of town, when we were here, she would go out of town and I would get involved with someone. Every time. It was someone that I was already involved with, but like get involved as far as like have them over, communicate more with them, FaceTime them, like all this type of stuff. Like the level of communication, interaction would go up every single time that she would leave. She would go out of town for someone's birthday or like a family member or something like that, and all of that would instantly raise because of the fact that it's long distance, so I can control every single perception of what's going on. So while she's out of town, hey, I'm really tired, so I slept a lot today. No, I didn't sleep a lot. I slept even less. I was with someone else. That was the story, and that was how I would manipulate things long distance wise. So when someone is in a long distance relationship, it's really easy to do that because of the fact that they're controlling every single thing that the other person thinks, feels, understands, acknowledges, because they're controlling all the inputs. That's why a narcissist a lot of times loves the idea of having a long distance relationship, because they can keep that person on tapped for validation, for ego boosting, you name it. They can keep that supply on tap, and they can go out and they can be with other people. Once again, they can also use that in a triangulation method, whether they want to look like the victim to the other people, or they'll just keep it completely a secret. Like, no, I'm single, like haven't had any communication with anyone else, etc. Like, you'll find narcissists that'll go through and they'll change the names in their phones to be guys' names so that you don't suspect stuff. You'll find narcissists that download different apps to be able to hide programs, to be able to hide photos, to be able to hide different things so that they can come across as being completely trustworthy, completely honest, and hey, like, I actually don't have a relationship at all. Like, I've been faithful to you, like, etc., etc. And then all of a sudden you realize later on down the road, like, actually the time frame's a little different. They were with me, they were with someone else, they're with someone else, and you start realizing it's not actually true. Narcissist loves the idea of a long distance relationship because they control the supply, they control the inputs, they control the outputs, and they can have their cake and eat it too with different people in town and out of town. So please be careful if you're with a narcissist. If you're with a narcissist and you're not sure what to do, whether you're in that relationship or you just got out of the relationship and you're longing to go back, you're feeling that trauma bond develop, if you want to be with that person who abused you, who is toxic for you, reach out to me. Like, I'd love to be able to help you process and progress in your journey to become a better person that's free of toxicity and is growing and changing and healing. rawmotivations.com. One-on-ones is where you go to be able to grab a time. Go on there, grab a time to be able to talk to me. Would love to be able to talk to you and be able to help you find that healing and change. If you've watched any of these videos and you watch them and you're like, I identify with what you're saying, like, that's me. That's what I'm describing is what you're feeling. If you feel like that at all, you might be narcissistic. You might have narcissistic traits. Reach out to me as well. I love talking to narcissists that want to change. If you want to reach out to me for validation, or if you want to reach out to me to gaslight someone else, then don't bother, because I'm not having it. But I love talking to narcissists that become self-aware, that start opening up their minds, start opening up the idea that they actually might have something wrong and they need to start acknowledging their lies and start changing. So that's an option as well. If you like what you see here, please subscribe to my YouTube. Follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Would love to interact with you guys more. Feel free to leave comments. If you're listening on the podcast, either Apple or Spotify, thank you so much for your support. Give us a rating, because that definitely helps spread out the message to more people. Leave some comments, because I want to be able to improve what I'm doing, how I'm communicating, to be able to better help people out there in the community and to be able to help bring awareness, growth, healing, and change to people out there. Thanks so much.